After a devastating divorce stripped her of nearly everything she had built over 12 years, Claire found herself with nothing but 2 suitcases and a single remaining piece of her past, her grandfather's old cabin by a remote lake. While her ex-husband walked away with the house, savings, and stability, the cabin was dismissed as worthless, an insignificant inheritance no one cared to fight over. With nowhere else to go, Claire drove hours into isolation, arriving at a place filled with memories but buried under years of neglect. The door was locked, the air inside stale, and the silence overwhelming, but it was hers. The first days were harsh and humbling. There was no comfort, no romantic sense of escape, only cold nights, limited supplies, and the emotional weight of starting over. Claire cleaned, repaired, and slowly reclaimed the space, reconnecting with traces of her grandfather in every corner. His tools were still neatly arranged, his paintings hung on the walls, and his presence lingered in the smallest details. In the quiet, she began to feel something shift, not hope exactly, but stability. While cleaning one day, Claire discovered something unexpected hidden behind a painting, a sealed envelope addressed to her. Inside was a handwritten letter from her grandfather, along with a key and instructions to visit a local bank. His words were simple but powerful, hinting that he had prepared something for her, something she would only understand when the time was right. Curious and unsettled, Claire followed the instructions and traveled to a nearby town. At the bank, she accessed a safety deposit box tied to the key. What she found inside completely changed her understanding of everything. Documents revealed that her grandfather had spent decades quietly purchasing land surrounding the lake, 243 acres in total. The estimated value of the land now ranged in the millions. What had seemed like a forgotten cabin was actually part of a vast and carefully built legacy. Even more surprising was how it had all been structured. The land was held in a private trust, completely separate from her grandfather's personal identity, ensuring no one could easily trace it. This meant it had never been considered during her divorce proceedings. Her ex-husband, his lawyers, and even the court had overlooked it entirely. The cabin was just the surface. Beneath it lay immense value. As Claire processed this revelation, new challenges emerged. A development company had been attempting to acquire land around the lake for years, planning a massive resort project. Her grandfather's property was the final and most critical piece they needed. Without it, their entire project would collapse. Suddenly, Claire held the deciding power in a multi-million-dollar situation. At the same time, her ex-husband reappeared, revealing his connection to the development group. His sudden interest in the worthless cabin exposed his true intentions. He had known more than he let on and had likely hoped she would sell the land cheaply out of desperation after the divorce. But Claire was no longer the same person he had manipulated for years. Guided by her grandfather's foresight and quiet wisdom, she refused to rush into any decisions. She studied the land, the contracts, and the proposals carefully. When the developers made a large offer to buy the land outright, she declined. Instead, she crafted her own plan, one that allowed her to retain full ownership while granting controlled usage through a long-term lease. This decision changed everything. Rather than selling the land and walking away with a one-time payment, Claire secured a stable, long-term income while maintaining control of her grandfather's legacy. The agreement ensured financial security for decades without sacrificing what had taken a lifetime to build. Her ex-husband's attempts to challenge her legally failed, thanks to the meticulous legal protections her grandfather had put in place. Years earlier, every detail had been anticipated. Every risk had been accounted for. Claire realized that this wasn't just an inheritance, it was a carefully designed second chance. As everything settled, Claire remained at the cabin, no longer as someone hiding from the world, but as someone who had found her place in it. She began to rebuild her life on her own terms, embracing both the independence she had gained and the strength she had discovered within herself. In the end, the cabin was never just a structure in the woods. It was a foundation, a test, a turning point. What once seemed like the smallest, most insignificant part of her life became the very thing that gave her everything she needed, not just financially, but emotionally. Claire had lost almost everything, but in that loss, she found clarity, control, and a future she could shape herself. And for the first time in a long time, she wasn't waiting for something to happen, she was finally in charge of what came next.